proclamation of the new president and new vice president, that's when everything will settle into place, and that's where we're really going to see where the numbers are going to go in terms of the fight for speakership. I think right now everybody's still focused on the proclamation of the new president and vice president, and after that, the attention will now be shifted on the battleground will now be shifted in the House of Representatives and the Senate on who's going to be the new Senate president and who's going to be the new Speaker of the House.
You know, it really all depends on what a certain party can offer in terms of committees. The committees are so important, and that's the basis for which maybe any party would support somebody who does not have the numbers, and they have to build on that. I mean, the NPC has always gotten very good committees historically. So, I mean, is this the same formula that they will work out with you with the Liberals?
I think that has been the dynamics in Congress ever since, I think. That has been the dynamics in Congress ever since. In other words, you sit down with the party, the administration party, you get compromises, you ask for favors, you give some. No? That has always been the dynamics. And precisely because NPC is a party to reckon with, because of our number, almost always we've been able to get what we want. Probably not the best, no? But we're satisfied with all the chairmanship that we have gotten. At least for the 14th Congress, I can say that we're very much satisfied with it. Yeah.
Okay, in the meantime, let's turn over to George Bandolan for a very short report on the ongoing canvass of the results for the absentee voting for the presidency and the vice presidency. George, if you're ready.
Ready, the Joint Canvassing Committee has just tallied the first certificate of canvass from the country of Laos. The first COC or ballot box with the COC, with the said COC, has just tallied with Benigno Simeon Noynoy Aquino gathered 55 votes from the said country via overseas absentee voting. JC De Los Reyes 0, Joseph Ejercito Estrada 16, and Richard Gordon 28, while Senator Jambi Madrigal gathered none, and same as Nicanor Perlas got a 0 vote, while the administration candidate Gilbert Gibo Chodoro has 18, and Brother Eddie Villanueva had 14, and in the second, running in the second is Manny Villar with 38, while the Laos also produced 33 votes for Binay, Jajumar Binay for vice presidential tally, and Loren Legarda with 27, Edu Manzano with 4, Mar Rojas with 72 or 72 votes, while Jay Zonza had 9 and Perfecto Yasay had 9. Jay Zonza had 1 and Yasay had 9. Now the Joint Canvassing Committee is in the process of opening the second ballot box containing the certificate of canvass from the Guam, U.S. territory, and is now in the process of opening it with the Congress Secretariat. So, Freddy?
Well, thank you very much, George. We will continue to monitor the canvassing that is being conducted on the overseas absentee voting. So in the meantime, thank you to you, George, and we'll be back again. Now, Congressman, you've seen that, the canvass is proceeding, but somehow the debates over the past few days has prevented the opening of the COCs based on the automation. Are you finding yourself in a situation na you're getting impatient na dapat matapos na to?
Yes and no, Freddy. For one thing kasi bago yung sistema. So maraming mga unfamiliar pa sa technology involved. So even the matter of what's a digital signature, ang common sense impression kasi yan, yung sulat kamay talaga, although in digital form. It turns out pala, it's not necessary, it's not a actual manual signature, but it's a process whereby you're able to assure that through that technology, talagang it's akin to having a a person actually certifying through a signature na yun yung resulta ng eleksyon. So, we all have to be educated So, I think that's one cause of the ongoing delay. Pakalawa, meron ding sentiment na COMELEC may have done away with, hindi lang may have, but actually did away with some requirements under the automated elections law. So as to whether the doing away with those requirements affect the credibility of the elections, that's one thing that's being debated upon right now. So siguro itong first few days, ganun talaga ang dapat ma-expect natin, but with the opening of the ballot, the ballot boxes at nag-umpisa na yung canvassing, siguro naman medyo bibilis yan over the next couple of days.
You find it a very untenable position?
Well, taking off from where Congressman Montemayor left off, I think that shouldn't that be the expertise of Congress, meaning to say it's a deliberative body wherein debates come in, and also I think it's very important that what they're doing right now is very important because you have to understand COMELEC wants another automated election in 2013, and it's Congress who is going to approve the budget for that, because you have to remember the PCOS machines are not our property, but we just borrowed that and we're turning that back. We spent 7 billion. The budget approved was 11 billion, and we spent 7 billion for that, only to have all of these questions come in. So I think the 15th Congress will take off from the experience of the 14th Congress. And right now, there's the Committee on Suffrage and Electoral Reforms that's tackling all of these questions. And right now, the National Canvassing Board is also tackling these prejudicial and preliminary questions. But thankfully, I think a lot of people are relieved to see that the Congress, as a National Canvassing Board, have begun opening the manually counted certificates of canvass, because at least that creates some sort of sigh of relief. That gives a sigh of relief to everyone, because for a moment there, a lot of people, including the media, they were getting impatient with all of these things. But for congressmen and for senators, I think we have mas mahabang pasensya namin, because this is the job of the congressman and the senator, to deliberate, to discuss, to debate on matters of national interest, and I think this is of national interest.
Given the fact that, this is the first time that we are into it, and the fact that you have so many concerns already being raised, not only in the national canvass, but even before that with the hearings of the Committee on Suffrage under Congressman Locsin, that's going to be a main agenda of the 15th Congress. And if you were to look at what sort of fine-tuning does the law need, what should that be for this 15th Congress?
To be honest with you, Freddie, with what transpired during the last elections, I'm not even sure if many of the congressmen would be comfortable having fully automated elections again come 2013. Even now, some of the congressmen, anyway, are talking about the earlier proposal that we have a hybrid system, hybrid form of elections, not fully automated, because I can understand where all those losing candidates are coming from. They didn't even know what hit them. Sabi ko, I'm a lawyer. Sabi ko, if I were asked to prepare an electoral protest, I don't even know where to start, because I don't know where I was cheated. It's so complex na it's beyond the ordinary comprehension of ordinary candidates.
This is because of the time element involved in really preparing ourselves for these elections?
Probably true also, and probably because we've never had any experience in this before, and everything was a complete surprise to us. I'm sure that this would be one important agenda for the 15th Congress, because 3 years is bilis yan, nandyan na yan. And then by October, unless it's postponed, we'll be having our barangay elections. So, number one na naman sa agenda ng 15th Congress. But going back to our experience, dito sa just concluded elections, I can say with perhaps near certainty na everyone, those who won, give a sigh of relief, because those who lost, kawawa naman, they didn't know where to start even.
Now, from your end, the party list is taking quite some time really to announce who made it. And I mean, how would you want the outcome to have been?
Well, ang importante dito siguro, Freddy, for the future is yung safeguards. everyone has to be satisfied that the safeguards are in place. Kumbaga merong third party certification na talagang totoo yung lumalabas doon sa electronic canvassing. So if that can be assured, I suppose that would be good for all concerned. Ngayon, in the specific case of the party list, one thing that is very noticeable, Freddy, is the tremendous increase in the number of voters voting for the party list. Kasi historically, ang pinakamataas na, of those who come out and vote during the election day, roughly about 40% only vote for the party list. But itong May 10, 2010, mahigit yata 80% ang bumoto. So what explains that? Was it easier to vote for the party list because all you do was to shade? Was there some kind of, I don't know, dagdag bawas also going on? And it's so hard to trace that in the case of the party list. So, but everyone is in the dark at the moment. Unlike in the case of the other elected positions, for Congress, for Mayor, may mga specific na pwedeng panghawakan. Sa party list, ang hirap pa hanapin kung sakaling merong nangyari doon eh.
But these are birth pains that we have to go through.
What do you think? Yeah, pero kawawa naman yung mga natalo. Yun yung birth pains natin. One thing also,
It's a death pain.
taking off Congressman Gigi about a statement, one thing for lawyers, such as ourselves, one thing peculiar also is the electoral protest that will be filing. We don't know how COMELEC will treat these electoral protests because the law made it very difficult for candidates to file an election protest based on the automated elections. So therefore, you had to allege cheating and you have to allege where you're cheated, and it's very difficult to pinpoint exactly because these are all inside the computer. Nobody really knows what goes on inside the computer. So I think the 15th Congress will also be taking a look also at the protests, both in COMELEC and the House of Representatives Electoral Tribunal. Even the HRET, I don't know paano i-appreciate ng HRET members itong mga protests na i-file sa kanila. Based on electronic evidence, it's very, it's something that we really, as lawyers, it's very interesting for us to note how we will be treating electoral protests based on automated elections. And that will also be a basis for the congressman whether or not to automate in 2011.
But this is a consensus that should be reached in the 15th Congress, that you really need to tackle this urgently given all the problems that you were able to face in these elections. And that is an agenda that should be considered and work even with the incoming administration.
Yes, I think, if I were to make a prognosis, that would be one important agenda for this coming Congress. Because as I said, 3 years is just,
Mabilis yun.
Mabilis yan, 3 years na yan. Ang isang nakita kong drawback dito sa automated elections is that we started debating about this late na eh. Late 2009, so medyo ipit ang oras. Sa totoo lang, medyo ipit ang oras, There were many proposals to begin with, Pero hindi masyado na pag-aralan. That's why we ended up fully automating our elections because that is what the COMELEC had insisted, But there were very good proposals coming from other members, like this hybrid system, where the voting is manual, the counting is manual, but the transmission is electronic. Yung may mga ganong klase, So,
Siguro Freddy's implementation, like the random manual audits, dapat sana ginawa agad yun right after the voting. Di-delay I understand at this point, mga 86% pa lamang ng random manual audits ang natatapos. So meron pang a little over 100, I think, manual audits still have to be undertaken. And this is about, 3 weeks after the election day?
Also, Sir Freddy, I think the legislators in the 14th Congress were able to put in security measures which were not followed in the law. And the argument now is that all all of these, well, some of these were done away with just based on the resolutions that were filed and passed and banked by COMELEC. And we know as lawyers that a resolution cannot go over and beyond the dictates of the law. So